Since microdosing, which for most is tends to be the use of a psychoactive substance, a psychedelic, or in small doses, almost subperceptual, in order to address mental health, right? Depression, um, anxiety, lifting the mood, elevation of mood, which in the microdosing consultations that we have done, over 400 or 500 consultations, the focus has always been the first goal of microdosing is elevation of mood, tempering anxiety, putting yourself in a place where triggers that might escalate upset or distract from focus and concentration is dramatically enhanced. So we look at microdosing from this baseline of taking and assisting and in many respects coaching the individual to recover from depression, to move away from dependencies on pharmaceutical antidepressants, right? Mushroom is not addictive. So once people have had some success in recovery, they move very quickly to wanting to boost their productivity, their creativity. In your work, how is microdosing becoming an ally to the goal of optimizing performance? How do you see that at this stage?
Sure, super question. A lot of our decisions we make in our work lives are based upon emotions, and a lot of our emotions are undiscovered. One of the key things that microdosing, especially psilocybin, does for you is that it unlocks levels of emotional understanding. And when we are able to truly understand why we react certain ways or why certain things cause us to react or feel or become emotional, because a lot of our reactions, whether to other people or our desires, come from an emotion. And when we are able to actually understand where that emotion is coming from and its origin, that allows us to be more aware and to understand. When we can understand where an emotion comes from, that gives us the strength and the power to make a conscious decision in conjunction with our ego, right? And our ego is such a powerful force. And we hear a lot of, oh, get rid of your ego. A lot of us grew up that way, right? Don't have your ego involved in this. Well, you don't want to get rid of your ego. Your ego should be a partner of yours. But when you understand why your ego is telling you something, that's when you can have that side-by-side conversation with your ego and say, thank you very much for the information that you have given me. I understand. I hear you. So now I'm going to make this decision. And a lot of times we will make decisions at work, at home, or in other situations, we'll make them completely based upon our emotions. When we're able to open that up, and that is what happens, especially going through coursework with a group or with a coach, but we're able to open up those emotions that we haven't quite yet understood, begin to find some origins. Once that's discovered, then we can make better decisions. When we make better decisions, that's when we start optimizing ourselves in all areas.
So you're saying that so you're implying that then most of us we react to we respond to an emotional which is really a symptom, and the mushroom or the microdosing helps us get to the root cause of that. Is
Absolutely. Absolutely. Think about this, though. I had this issue for a large portion of my life, and I'm sure a lot of people on this call do. The way I would react to my mother questioning me, this is just a simple format. I would react a certain way because I had an emotion that was based upon me as a child growing up that I didn't quite understand. Once I understood why that her questioning me bothered me and it had me react in a certain way, I was then able to see her questions in an entirely different way and respond to them completely differently than I would have ever responded before, because I understood that why those questions, which they were just basic questions from somebody, but I was taking them differently because of the patterns that had gone on for a long period of my life. When that was understood, when I became aware of that, now I can calculate the way I'm now perceiving that question, which then enables me to respond in an entirely different way. So think about that in the workspace, right? Think about that when your partner in your workspace or your boss or your colleagues are reacting certain ways and you're responding. That's a powerful area to sit with. And with the microdosing, it helps you sit with how those emotions or how those feelings affect you. And then in correspondence, how you have responded based upon those emotions. That's when we can start recognizing where are some of the hurdles that are preventing me from optimizing my performance. Same thing you would do with an athlete, Lou. You would review an athlete. When you get to a certain level, there's only a finite ability, finite levels of increasing performance. You have to figure out those little tiny intricacies that are blocking certain muscles from actually activating at a higher level. That's when you can start elevating a high level athlete to cut down on their time by 1/10 of a second, to improve their leap by a few inches. That's how you do that, same way in the workspace.
So that's generally that's the awareness that is getting cultivated, right? Through microdosing, as well as learning how to focus and bring your concentration to a certain intention, right? Because we talk a lot about microdosing of setting intention, and intentions can be quite nuanced, quite specific, but then that awareness sets in, and therefore then you can act and be much more productive towards whatever that goal or intention might be. Is that how you see it?
That's exactly how I see it. You're able to focus on what you actually need to be focused on at that moment, right? Sometimes people say, oh, just focus more. But when you think about it, what are you actually focusing on? And if you become more aware of what you have to be focused on and why, that helps elevate that precision-like focus, which obviously is extremely important to optimizing any level of performance.